see, it's kind of floppy and runny and liquidy. So in order to gain control over this blob, I've just got to roll it back and forth on the steel plate, which kind of centers and cools that glass. And then once I feel like I can control it, I can give it a little puff of air to hollow it out, and now I can start shaping my pitcher. So these are my jacks. That is that's the A#1 tool for a glass blower. It's like a hammer to a carpenter or a knife to a chef. And what I've done is I've created by squeezing these jacks, I've created a constriction right here where the glass actually meets the pipe. That constriction is where I hope it'll break free here in a minute. So what you guys are looking at is actually the bottom. I'm gonna make like a cream picture like the one on the post there. So you'll notice that I actually made the bottom first. And the top is connected to my blowpipe. So I've got to flip the whole thing over so that I can make it wider and add a spout and things like that. The way to do that is by sticking this hot rod to the bottom of what I've already made and breaking this pipe away. Hopefully, right where I created that constriction.
This is so cool.
Connected to the pipe, it's just got like a little dime-sized opening. This glass is cooled to the point that I can't manipulate that any further. So I'm going to stick it in this reheating chamber over here for just a few seconds to make that glass soft and pliable again. Got that lid hot again, so I'm going to use those same jacks and spin it open a little bit and then create a spout.
I feel like this would be a cool job.
Yeah, it spout's a little intense, but you get the idea. The bit of glass that I'm going to use to fashion a handle.
You don't touch it.
So on a typical day, I would actually take this picture, break it off, and put it into our ovens up front where it will cool very gradually overnight. But since we're operating at a limited capacity right now, I'm just going to throw it away. And at the end of the day, I can take all that broken and scrap glass that I made, shove it back into the furnace and remelt it.
Well, you could have given one of us it.
I mean, it was still about 1,000 degrees, so I'm not sure you'd have been able to carry it back to your car.
In a bag to go, is what you meant.
We now theoretically any sand will do. Here in 1608, they were using stuff right off the James River here. Yeah, today we buy it commercially from the mountains of North Carolina. There's a silica mine near Asheville, and that's where we get ours. It's a very, very fine sand. It's almost like a baby powder. It's so fine. Coloring is a matter of adding different metals. So if you melt sand and don't add anything else to it, it's going to give you green glass.
Oh.
Is that when they did it green? Jamestown was green?
Yes, ma'am?
I
Yep.
thought normal glass was clear.
No, actually, it took them quite a while to figure out how to make glass clear. Glass is green because the sand is always going to contain some impurities. Here, it's iron, nickel, and trace amounts of chromium.
Is that how you make it? How do you make it blue then?
I'm getting to that.
Tell us how to make
Sorry.
So it's green naturally. We want it blue. We have to add just a couple ounces of cobalt oxide to our sand. I need like 2 ounces of cobalt, 400 pounds of sand. So just, when you're reading recipes and it says a pinch, a pinch cobalt. And then things like gold would make red glass, silver would make yellow glass.
So that's why red glass is so expensive.
Got it, especially antique red glass, because silver's in yellow glass, copper, gold, and red. They discovered in let's say the early 1900s that they didn't have to use gold anymore. That they could use things like cadmium and selenium, which are cheaper, but a lot more toxic to play with. That's primarily, you see red glass today, it's going to be made with selenium. But historic red glass, especially that deep ruby color, that's all made with gold. Clear.
Clear. Make it clear.
Today we use manganese. Manganese oxide, when added to the sand, neutralizes those impurities and leaves it colorless.
Do you have to filter it out, so do a filtration process to get the manganese and the impurities out, or they just become part of the glass?
Exactly.
Clear.
So when
Okay.
we will mix the manganese directly in with our sand, we'll get it all mixed up, kind of like you're sifting flour together for a cake, and when it melts, it's all clear.
And just a pinch of manganese, more or less?
Manganese is a funny one because manganese can give you a variety of colors depending on the concentration.
Okay.
So a pinch, that's going to give you clear.
Okay.
You add a cup. And these aren't actual measurements, by the way. I'm just freestyling here. You're going to get purple.
Ooh.
Right. You add 2 gallons. Now you have black glass.
Ooh.
So you can get anything from clear to black just depending on how much you add.
That's
That's
cool.
pretty much true with all of the oxides. The more concentrated the oxide is, the more intense the color is going to be.
And what about the settlers? How did they make it clear?
They wouldn't have bothered. Clear glass at 1608 was, it was unheard of. Only the wealthiest in Europe had glass anyway. Another step up would have just been crazy. It was around this time that they figured out a lead-based formula for clear glass. A man named George Ravenscroft figured it out in London. Here, they just made what was natural.
So why
Green.
are they making it if it's only for the wealthy?
Because
wealthy have money.
this colony was not colonists. This isn't Plymouth Rock. They didn't come here for religious freedom. This was a business venture. This was started by a group of investors who wanted to send colonists to the New World to exploit the natural resources. That's why. Now, they had heard stories from the Spanish. The Spanish had colonized Florida and Mexico, and the Spanish were saying, there's gold all over the New World. So the English said, well, let's just send some folks over there, pick up some gold, come back and make our profit. Well, obviously, when that boat landed in 1607, they quickly realized there's no gold. So then they were under pretty immense pressure to find a way to make this a profitable business. And so, surveying the natural resources, they knew that they could make glass because Virginia had something that England didn't, and that was an abundance of hardwood trees. So England at the time is suffering pretty massive deforestation. There's a kind of 100-year period in England's history where they had a fuel shortage because King James he's taking all of the hardwoods and he's making ships out of them. He's building a navy. So that leaves no fuel for glassmakers. That in turn means there's no English glassmakers. But the English people still want their glass, so they're getting it from elsewhere. They're getting it from Italy, Poland, Germany, places like this. So when they arrive and they see what's essentially an entire continent of trees that they can cut down, they said, well, we can produce glass here in the New World for free, essentially, ship it 3,000 miles back across the Atlantic, sell it at a profit, and that will be our export. So that was the idea behind it. It never quite got a foothold as a established industry. They did manage to send 2 shipments back. We don't know what it was. They didn't keep, manifests or anything. But shortly after that, the colony started experiencing starving time. 90% of the colony dies to starvation and disease. So naturally, they're like, man, forget blowing glass. I'm trying to survive. Yeah. And then by the time the colony becomes stable and relations with the natives are stable, now they can actually concentrate on a industry. And what that industry would be is tobacco. And it's really the one that saved the colony.
Cash crop.
Yeah. So once they discovered tobacco was going to be so profitable, they forgot all about all the other stuff. So they forgot about glass. They tried to make wine. They tried to make silk. They tried to send back lumber. They tried to make tar. They tried to make soap. Nothing worked till they found tobacco.
Nice.
And really the only reason this is historically significant is this is the first industry ever attempted in North America.
Nice.
Glassblowing?
Yep. Right here at Jamestown, right?
Where's the old one at? Where's the original?
Hey, it's right under that lean-to. It's about 50 yards down the path there. Yep. There's not much left. It's basically just a footprint. But yeah, you'll get the idea. It looks pretty much what we've got here.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. Thanks for coming by to see me.
You're so knowledgeable.
Well, I mean, you spend 20 years in this building, you're going to pick up a few things.
Yeah.